Unlocking your potential, the resilient path to success. Welcome to the BlackCEO Podcast. Today, we're embarking on an extraordinary journey of inspiration, empowerment, and transformation. I recently had the incredible privilege of sitting down with Terry Whitworth, a visionary leader whose insights have not only changed my perspective, but have the power to revolutionize the way we think about success, resilience, and community empowerment. Terry Whitworth isn't just a successful entrepreneur, he's a beacon of hope and a catalyst for change. His work in uplifting underserved communities and breaking down systemic barriers has touched countless lives. Through his mentorship programs and philanthropic efforts, Terry has proven that true success lies not just in personal achievements, but in the positive impact we have on others. His dedication to creating opportunities for aspiring entrepreneurs, particularly within the Black community, is nothing short of inspirational. Now, let me ask you a question that might make you squirm in your seat a little. When was the last time you truly pushed yourself beyond your comfort zone? I mean, really pushed yourself to the point where you could feel your heart racing and your palms sweating. If you're having trouble remembering, don't worry, you're not alone. But by the end of this talk, I guarantee you'll be itching to leap out of that comfort zone and into the exciting unknown of your potential. You see, the conversation I had with Terry Whitworth wasn't just an interview, it was a wake up call, a call to action for all of us who have ever dreamed of achieving something great, but have held ourselves back out of fear, doubt, or the belief that success is reserved for a chosen few. Well, I'm here to tell you that nothing could be further from the truth. Let's dive into the heart of what makes successful entrepreneurs tick, particularly in the Black community. Through Terry's eyes, we'll explore three crucial elements that can transform your life and career: resilience, opportunity recognition, and community empowerment. But buckle up, because this isn't going to be your typical motivational speech. We're going to get real, we're going to get raw, and we might even ruffle a few feathers along the way. First up, let's talk about resilience. Now, I know what you're thinking. Here we go, another lecture about bouncing back from failure. But hold on to your seats, because we're about to flip that narrative on its head. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward. It's about taking those setbacks, those moments of doubt and despair, and using them as rocket fuel to propel you towards your dreams. And let me introduce you to a woman who embodied this principle like no other: Madam C.J. Walker. Born Sarah Breedlove in 1867 to formerly enslaved parents, Walker's start in life was about as far from privilege as you can get. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of letting her circumstances define her, Walker decided to define her circumstances. Picture this. It's the early 1900s. Racial segregation is the norm. Women, especially Black women, are largely excluded from the business world. And here comes Sarah Breedlove dealing with hair loss and scalp ailment, common among Black women at the time. Now, most people would see this as just another problem to add to the pile. But Walker, she saw an opportunity. She didn't just create a hair care line, she revolutionized an entire industry. Walker developed a line of hair care products specifically for Black women, a market that had been completely ignored by mainstream beauty companies. But here's the kicker: she didn't stop there. Oh no, that would have been too easy. Walker created a business model that empowered thousands of Black women as independent sales agents. In an era when job opportunities for Black women were severely limited, Walker opened up a whole new world of financial independence. She didn't just build a company, she built a movement. Now let's pause for a moment and really let that sink in. Walker faced racial discrimination, gender bias, and a complete lack of financial resources. She had every reason to give up, to accept the status quo. But instead, she looked at every obstacle as a challenge to overcome, every setback as an opportunity to innovate. That, my friends, is what true resilience looks like. It's not about gritting your teeth and bearing it. It's about looking at your challenges square in the eye and saying, "You don't scare me. In fact, I'm going to use you to build something amazing." But resilience alone isn't enough. This brings us to our second key ingredient: the ability to identify and seize opportunities. And who better to illustrate this point than the man who became the first African American to build $1 billion company? Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Reginald F. Lewis. Born in Baltimore in 1942, Lewis didn't exactly have a silver spoon in his mouth. But what he did have was an uncanny ability to spot potential where others saw nothing but risk. After graduating from Harvard Law School, Lewis quickly made a name for himself as a savvy dealmaker. But it was in 1987 that he made the move that would cement his place in history. Lewis founded TLC Beatrice International, a global food conglomerate. Now, I want you to imagine the audacity it took to make this move. This was a time when the idea of a black-owned billion-dollar company was considered a pipe dream by many. But Lewis didn't just dream, he acted. He identified undervalued companies, saw their potential, and turned them into profitable enterprises. His acquisition of TLC Beatrice International wasn't just a business deal, it was a statement, a bold declaration that said, we belong here, we can do this, and we're just getting started. Lewis's story teaches us a crucial lesson. Opportunities don't announce themselves with fanfare and fireworks. They don't come knocking on your door with a neon sign saying, hey, over here, this is your big break. No, opportunities often disguise themselves as challenges, as risks, as situations that make most people turn and run. But here's the secret. The ability to spot these opportunities isn't some mystical sixth sense. It's a skill that can be developed. It's about training yourself to look at the world differently, to see potential where others see problems, to ask, what if? Instead of saying, that's impossible. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, that's great for the exceptional few, but what about the rest of us? And that, my friends, is where our third key element comes into play, community empowerment. Because true success isn't just about personal achievement, it's about lifting others as you climb. Let me introduce you to a woman who embodies this principle, Janice Bryant Howroyd. Her story starts in 1976 when she moved to Los Angeles with just $900 in her pocket. Now, $900 might buy you a fancy dinner these days, but it's not exactly seed money for a billion-dollar company. Or is it? Howroyd didn't see that $900 as a limitation. She saw it as a starting point. She founded the Acton Group, focusing on employment services and consultancy. But here's where Howroyd's story takes an inspiring turn. As her company grew, she didn't just focus on her own success. She made it her mission to create opportunities for others, particularly women and minorities in the corporate world. Under Howroyd's leadership, the Acton Group became the first Black female-led company to bring in more than $1 billion in annual revenue. But for Howroyd, this wasn't just a personal milestone. It was a platform to empower others. She used her success to open doors, to mentor aspiring entrepreneurs, to show that success isn't a zero-sum game. Howroyd's story reminds us of a fundamental truth. We rise by lifting others. True success isn't measured by the size of your bank account or the number of awards on your shelf. It's measured by the impact you have on your community, by the number of lives you touch and transform. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on these three stories, Walker, Lewis, and Howroyd. On the surface, they might seem like exceptional cases, outliers in a world that often seems stacked against us. But I want you to look closer because within each of these stories lies a blueprint, a roadmap that each of us can follow. These aren't just tales of individual triumph. They're testaments to the power of resilience, the importance of seizing opportunities, and the transformative impact of community empowerment. They're proof that success isn't reserved for a chosen few. It's available to anyone willing to push themselves, to think differently, to persist in the face of adversity. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Knowing these principles isn't enough. The real magic, the true transformation happens when you put them into action. So I want to challenge you right now. Yes, you sitting there listening to this podcast, I want you to think about your own life, your own dream. Where have you been holding back? Where have you been waiting for the perfect moment instead of creating your own opportunities? Maybe you've been dreaming of starting your own business, but fear of failure has held you back. Or perhaps you've spotted a need in your community, but haven't taken that first step to address it. Whatever it is, I want you to take that first step today, right now. Because here's the truth that Terry Whitworth, Madam C.J. Walker, Reginald F. Lewis, and Janice Bryant Howroyd all understood. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. And as you embark on this journey, I want you to remember this. Your success isn't just about you. Look for ways to lift others as you climb. Mentor someone who's just starting out. Share your knowledge and resources with your community. Because when we empower others, we create a ripple effect that can transform entire communities. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Now, that sounds great, but you don't understand my situation. You don't know the obstacles I'm facing. And you're right. I don't know your specific circumstances, but I do know this. Every great achievement, every world-changing idea started with a single step, a single decision to act, despite fear, despite doubt, despite the naysayers. Remember Madam C.J. Walker? She didn't wait for society to decide it was ready for a black female millionaire. She decided she was ready to become one. Reginald F. Lewis didn't wait for someone to hand him a billion-dollar company. He went out and built one. Janice Bryant Howroyd didn't wait for opportunities to come knocking. She created them, not just for herself, but for thousands of others. So, what's holding you back? What's that voice in your head telling you that you can't do it? I want you to take that voice, look it square in the eye, and say, watch me. Because that's what resilience is all about. It's about facing your fears, your doubts, your setbacks, and using them as fuel to propel you forward. And here's the beautiful thing about this journey. As you push yourself, as you strive to achieve your dreams, you'll find that you're not just changing your own life. You're changing the lives of those around you. You're showing others what's possible. You're breaking down barriers and opening doors for those who come after you. This is the power of community empowerment. It's about recognizing that our individual success is intrinsically linked to the success of our community. It's about understanding that when we lift others, we all rise higher. So, as we wrap up this talk, I want to leave you with a challenge that I hope will resonate in your mind long after you finish listening. I want you to commit to taking one bold action towards your dreams within the next 24 hours. And it doesn't have to be huge. It could be making that phone call you've been putting off, drafting that business plan, or reaching out to a potential mentor. Whatever it is, I want you to do it with the spirit of resilience, opportunity, and community empowerment that we've discussed today. And as you take that step, I want you to remember this. You have within you the same spark that ignited the success of Madam C.J. Walker, Reginald F. Lewis, and Janice Bryant Howroyd. You have the power to overcome obstacles, create opportunities, and make a lasting impact on your community. Success isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about creating that moment yourself. It's about having the courage to dream big, the resilience to persevere, and the heart to lift others as you rise. So go out there and make your mark. Push yourself to get where you want to be. Identify those opportunities, seize them with both hands, and never, ever give up on your dreams. And as you embark on this journey, remember the words of Terry Whitworth. Success is not a destination. It's a journey of constant growth, of pushing boundaries, of lifting others as we climb, a journey that starts with a single step, a single decision to believe in yourself and your potential to change the world. So what will your first step be? What bold action will you take in the next 24 hours to move closer to your dreams? The world is waiting for your unique contribution, for the change only you can bring. Don't keep it waiting any longer. Your journey to success, to making a real difference, starts now. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of resilience, opportunity, and community empowerment. Now go out there and show the world what you're capable of, because I believe in you, and it's time for you to believe in yourself too. The future is yours to shape. What are you waiting for? Let's make it happen.